Chief, it's Tim, it's TJ, it's the Pre-Lock Show, and we've got two big games on tap from a real-life perspective and a fantasy perspective. So glad to come on a Sunday and talk you guys through a few lineups. I'm going to, not talk as much in terms of pleasantries. We're just going to hop right in this thing. Tim, what's going on this beautiful Sunday for you?
Yeah, not much, Will. Always great to do a show with you. This is our last multi-game slate of the entire season. So, I mean, we're right down to it. These are two fantastic games, I think. I'm really excited to watch this. I don't always watch all the games, but I'm definitely going to be watching both of these. And I'm really looking forward to breaking down the slate with you guys.
Yeah, same here. And I was excited last week to come on with you guys. I had a really good week last week. Hopefully that good mojo carries over into this week. Tanisha Mahomes, thank you for joining us. She or he was here last week, so we appreciate it. TJ, what's going on? It's getting warmer here in my neck of the woods. We're in this weird weather situation where it's and hear me out, TJ. I know this isn't as balmy as your weather, but 40s in the morning, 80 in the afternoon, 60 and 70 at night. But then next week it's supposed to get down to 60s as a high and maybe low as a 40 as a low. But, kind of crispy weather. TJ, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Surprisingly warm here as well. Like I'm chilling in the high 30s, low 40s right now. And it's usually like minus high 30s, low 40s in late January, early February. So feeling good. Looking forward to diving into this NFL slate. It's like Tim said, it's tough. It's a tough slate, but still some money to be made.
Yeah, man, for sure. I know we don't talk much about this, man, but I'm going to play some Owner's Box today. Owner's Box is actually going to end up being kind of my primary today, and I play Owner's Box every week, and I write for them as well. But I kind of like the super flex today on Owner's Box, but we don't have to get in that. But I'm just kind of putting that out there, like I'm going to be trying to really get in over there. Tim, let's kick it over to you, man. Like, let's just go maybe top-down approach on this slate instead of position by position right out of the gate. Like, what's your feel for the slate? I do feel like the pricing is, I don't want to say wonky. I just think we can't get all the pieces we're going to play. We're going to have to sacrifice someone. And so I just kind of want to get your overall thoughts about the slate from the top down.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The pricing is a little bit strange. I don't think it's unfair by any means. I think DK did a pretty good job with pricing. Yeah. You're definitely gonna have to make sacrifices. Like there's not really any like great value. That's like one of the first things that I noticed is like there's no like plug and play value cheapie that you have to roster for cash games or should roster in single entries. There isn't that like cheap guy. So that immediately makes it uncomfortable to click some of the chalky cheap guys that we're going to get because they're not exactly smash plays. So that was one of the first things that I noticed on this slate. And then the other thing is the one thing that I want to bring up is Deebo Samuel. I think a lot of people are hesitant to click his name, but he practiced in full on Friday. And so I don't see any reason why the ownership gap has to be so great between Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't make that much sense to me. So I think Samuel is an amazing pivot off of Ayuk. So that was the other thing that I noticed.
Yeah, and that I'm telling you, Tim, that's how I feel on this slate. And I'm not going to throw out all the names, but I feel like we're being forced to play Jawan Jennings or Jameson Williams. Like
I was going to say Josh Reynolds. It feels like we're forced to play Josh Reynolds, which is okay, I guess, but it's not like he's some kind of smash play. But I do feel like you're right that we're forced to click on Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds, somebody like that. That's really not that comfortable.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm landing. TJ, your overall thoughts, and then we will kind of dive right in here and just get some quarterback thoughts. What's your overall feel of the slate?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to build. It's like Mr. Gerg says in chat. There's just no mid-range on DraftKings today. Like there's an upper tier, there's a lower tier. I'll play Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams, Justice Hill, maybe some of these Baltimore receivers. But the mid-range just doesn't exist. Like I don't really want to play Zay Flowers. He's probably going to be seeing a lot of Snead there for the Chiefs. The tight ends are great at the low 5K, but like the range from like Sam Laporta to the running backs or Rashee Rice, like there's just nothing in between there. And so it does leave some kind of tough last piece situations, a lot of stuff to change around. I find myself sacrificing at defense more than anything else. Like just got a scary amount of Detroit Lions, and we're going to hope they return a touchdown, like punt returning, kick returning, a pick six, something like that, because I do have an uncomfortable amount of Lions defense because there's just not a lot of other places I want to sacrifice.
Okay, and let's hop right into this thing. Tim, let's kick it over to you. I know we said we're going to quarterback. We're actually going to go to running back because I think this might be, let's not call it the most important decision, but I think a critical decision on this slate. To be or not to be with Christian McCaffrey, that is the question. Tim, thoughts on McCaffrey? Do we need McCaffrey? I actually feel better without McCaffrey this week, but that's me. How are you feeling? Because he does feel expensive.
I disagree, Will. I think you have to have C-Mac today. But I mean, hey, things do happen. You could win all the dollars without him, but I think that he's going to be around 50 to 55% owned. He's showing up in optimals over 60% of the time, so I think you need C-Mac, but that's just me. That's where I'm going to put my money. You can put your money wherever you want, right? So I think you should be playing him in all formats. I would be getting to at least 80% of him in large field GPPs, if not just lock button him. But I would definitely get over 55%. And then I think this is where it gets really tricky for me is who's my RB2? And do I even need an RB3? Like, is this a 3 running back week on DK? So those are, for me, the hardest questions on the entire slate. Isaiah Pacheco is projected the second best. I don't really necessarily want to go and spend $6,500 against this Baltimore defense. So I think and he's going to be the second highest owned. So I think I'm going to be out on Pacheco. The one guy that I do like quite a bit is Jahmyr Gibbs. This should be a good game script for him. He gets more of the receiving work. They should be playing from behind against San Francisco. So Jahmyr Gibbs is my favorite RB2. And then there's this whole Justice Hill situation. I ran a ton of optimals before we got on the show, and Justice Hill is popping a whole lot more than I thought he would.
You don't want to know how much Justice Hill is popping in my stuff, and I hate it. Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like such an interesting decision because he's only 4,800. If he gets you, say, 12 points, like I think you're going to be really happy with that on the slate. So, I don't know. Like that's a tricky situation. But for people that are kind of like wondering, is this a 3 RB week? I don't personally think so. I think it's only a 2 RB week for DK.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Before I give my thoughts on Pacheco, because listen, I know everybody's like, Chief, are you an idiot? Like, what are you talking about? TJ, please give us your thoughts. CMC to not CMC. That is the question.
Yeah, I'm on a similar path as Tim today. So of my 10 lineups, I only have one that has 3 running backs. All the other 9 are using a wide receiver or a tight end at flex. I have CMC in every single lineup except my biggest lineup, actually. My biggest lineup is a Purdy, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle stack. And in that team, it does not have Christian McCaffrey, but all of the others do. And so I'm big on him today. Detroit is phenomenal against the run, but he could rack up a bunch of catches through the air, like a bunch of receiving yards, a bunch of receptions anyways. So Yeah, I'm still all aboard McCaffrey today. He's on every team except for my biggest one. I do really like Justice Hill too. Again, I'm super overweight on him, but I don't have him on my biggest team. And so the majority of my 10, not my biggest lineup, but the majority of my 10 lineups, it has a McCaffrey Hill combo.
Okay, listen, I totally get it. There's a reason I wanted to head that direction. It looks like most people definitely want to get McCaffrey in. I don't blame them. Here's my theory today, Jets, and we'll talk to that, and then we'll move swiftly through the rest of the slate. If I'm playing Lamar, I'm going to fade McCaffrey and try to get in all the other stuff. If I'm playing McCaffrey, I'm probably not playing Lamar. I don't think I'm going to play them together because I don't think that I can. That's my theory today, and that's why I was wondering where you guys were in terms of McCaffrey. I think if there's one guy on this slate that's got equal upside, it's Lamar Jackson, and I want to get him in some lineups. I'm probably going to play him. I thought I was going to play him naked. It's looking like now I'm going to end up with probably him, Justice Hill, and I might play Mark Andrews because I feel like the field may be a little down because they don't know how he's going to be used. But that's just where I'm landing. I'm still building out my one single entry team. And yeah, you guys are probably saying, Chief, you're crazy. You're going to fade McCaffrey single entry. Yeah, like that might be my leverage spot today and play Lamar. That's where I'm at running back. Love CMC, but I don't think I can get him Lamar. And I think I like Lamar better than CMC this week. That's my thoughts. Tim, thoughts on that? And then if you want to wrap up any more running backs, please do. TJ, same thing, and then we'll move straight to quarterback and get through this thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't mind a naked Lamar. It's not my favorite play. I'd probably pair him with Andrews or Flowers, but
yeah, I am pairing it for what it's worth. I am pairing
okay.
For what it's worth.
All right. Yeah, I don't think naked Lamar this week is a great play, but yeah. And then I guess we can just kick it over to TJ. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm getting to a lot of Andrews, Bateman, and Aguilar with my Lamar lineups just because I do want to play CMC with him. But the other thing I did today is I placed bets, and I did over Lamar 50 rushing yards, over Lamar 60 rushing yards, over Lamar 70 rushing yards, 80, 90. And I just stacked all of those because I do think he's going to have a big day on the ground as well. And so if Lamar naked is the best option, well, maybe my DFS lineups aren't going to do great, but at least I'll have it covered on that end.
I do like Lamar over, I think it was 65.5 rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
All right. Let's move to quarterback. Since we're there, we're already talking about Lamar. Lamar is my favorite in terms of upside. My true favorite is actually Jared Goff in that game, possibly playing from behind, having to push the ball down the field, more of a game script play for me. So I am going to have a fair amount of Jared Goff, but Lamar is my top option just in terms of upside. Tim, what are your thoughts on quarterback?
Yeah, Brock Purdy is probably my favorite quarterback. He's 6,400. He's going to be going up against that horrible Detroit secondary that just hemorrhages points through the air. So he's going to be the second most popular. He might end up being the most popular. I'm not sure that Lamar is going to be more popular than him, but for that price tag, he's almost the cheapest quarterback on the slate. He's got all of his weapons available to him. He's got one of the best possible matchups you can get in the entire NFL. So Brock Purdy for 6,400. I expect he's going to have a very efficient game. And CMAC gets enough catches that you could it doesn't really hurt CMAC too much either because he gets enough receiving work. So Purdy by far is my number one. I do like that Jared Goff call. It should be a good script for him. So he should have to pass the ball quite a bit. I just am not crazy. I think probably Lamar is my number two, and then Goff is my third favorite.
Okay. TJ, over to you.
Yeah, basically the same for me. I think Lamar and Brock are a little closer to like 1A, 1B. But I do give the slight edge to Brock Purdy. Lamar is the clear number two for me, though. And then it's a fairly significant drop off. Goff 3, Mahomes 4. I'm not playing any Mahomes today, which definitely terrifies me, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I don't have Mahomes either, which is very interesting. Tim, did you get to any Mahomes today by chance?
I only play one team, a slate, so no,
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't play Mahomes.
Yeah, same here. And as you guys were talking, I am building one team right now that does give me Lamar and McCaffrey. Like, I'm gonna throw it in just in case.
Yeah, and I think Willie Gay was supposed to be the spy for the Chiefs on Lamar, and he's out. So that's only going to help Lamar's rushing, I would assume. So that's going to help his floor overall. I still just love that price on Purdy. So I love to save that 1,300 because we don't have like amazing value.
That's the thing with them too, is like it's easy enough to make it work with the cheap receivers that I kind of feel like this for sure could end. It's only 2 games, right? This could for sure end up being one of those slates that Lamar has 30 points, Christian McCaffrey has 30 points, and it doesn't matter who else you have in your lineup because those are the only guys who absolutely go off, and the min cash is 84, and you just simply, if you have those 2, you're good kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it. Like I said, I'm building one right now with both. So we'll see how that goes. Tim, we are kicking it to wide receiver. And we have, because this slate is so small, we've kind of been talking about how things affect other things anyway. So I have I feel like a firm idea or stance on where you're going to end up. But let's give it to the people where you kind of landing at receiver in conjunction with the rest of your lineup.
Yeah, so I'm actually fading Amon-Ra, which is terrifying. I'm going either. I haven't made up my mind. I may play Debo over Ayuk just because of that ownership difference. But I'm not 100% sure yet. Ayuk is definitely like your cash game wide receiver. Pair him with Purdy. Like that's going to be an extremely popular pairing option on this very small slate. So I mean, Ayuk is in an amazing spot. So is Samuel. So yeah, those 2 guys are my 2 overall favorites. So I can't play everyone that I want, and so I have to fade Amon-Ra. I don't really want to attack this Baltimore defense in any kind of major way, so I'm also fading Rashee Rice, and then Josh Reynolds. I mean, he's projected for our 4th highest owned wide receiver at 4K. Like, yeah, I get it, but I don't think he's any kind of like lock. So getting away from him and pivoting to a Jameson Williams or, an Odell or a Jawan Jennings, something like that or Hardman or MVS, just to get away from that Josh Reynolds chalk, I think is a really smart idea in larger field GPPs. Right now, I currently have MVS on my single entry team.
Okay. For what it's worth, because I'm fading or in this particular lineup that I'm building right now with Lamar and McCaffrey, I do have Reynolds and Jameson Williams for what it's worth, which that's really more of a correlation play because I can't get to Amon-Ra. So just kind of talking it through with some people, like just to kind of get a feel. I also have Sam Laporta in that one as well. All right, TJ, over to you. Like, what are your thoughts at wide receiver?
Yeah, that's my kind of lineup there, Chief. I'm full fading Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. I don't have him in any of my lineups. It's terrifying. I also don't have any Zay Flowers, which is pretty scary, but Amon-Ra and Zay are my full fades, and I'm getting to all those guys in the middle. I agree with Steven Pereira in the YouTube chat, says play Ayuk and Debo together. That's what I'm doing in my main lineup. I like Rashee Rice still. Josh Reynolds and Jameson Williams both I really like. And then the cheapies I'm taking lots of shots on are Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. They dominated the snap count last week for Baltimore. Like right from the start of the game, they were the number 2 and number 3 receivers. We'll see how much that adjusts with Mark Andrews in there. Maybe this week it's Odell Beckham's turn, but those guys led the snap share by quite a bit. They're nice and cheap. They pair with Lamar well, and they're going low owned. So I like getting to those guys quite a bit alongside my Lamar. And yeah, full fading Amon-Ra, full fading Zay Flowers. I might have Zay on one. I actually can't remember, but almost full fading Zay, and I am full fading Amon-Ra. Getting to a lot of the Detroit cheapies, and then a lot of Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
Okay. Tim, TJ, if this lineup hits with Lamar and McCaffrey, I might owe you guys a piece of this one because I wasn't planning on doing any Lamar McCaffrey lineups. Let's move the tight end because I think I think we got a good grasp on what we want to do at receiver. I want to ask you guys this question, and then Tim, you can just take it away with your thoughts overall. Where are we on Isaiah Likely? I feel like he might get lost in the shuffle with Andrews back. I think he might be one of the better tournament tight ends because of the uncertainty, just in general, right? Because we're thinking Andrews coming back, and maybe they even get some 2 tight end sets, and he waltzes in the end zone yet again for another week. What are your thoughts on Likely, Tim, specifically because of the Andrews situation and then tight end overall?
It's definitely an interesting take. I just think that there's extreme opportunity cost at tight end today. So I'm Kelsey, Kittle, Laporta, Andrews, Gray at min price. So like just those top 3 guys are amazing. Like it's like a full slate of tight ends on a 2-game slate. So tight end, I'm definitely going double tight end today on DK. So I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, Chief. I think it's a good creative play. He's projected for 6 points and 6% ownership. That's fine. Like, you want to put that in a lineup or 2? I don't hate it. But, I love Kittle. I absolutely love Laporta today. And, of course, there's Kelsey. So, I mean, those 3 tight ends right there, I almost feel like you have to play 2 out of those 3 in cash games or single entry. Just because they're so cheap. They're so cheap.
For sure. And let me clear that up, Tim, because I realized I wasn't clear at all. As a secondary, like as your second tight end, like I'm definitely
good. Yeah, then
over like Laporta. Right. So sorry about that. I wasn't.
No,
clear.
it's fine.
Because I'm playing Laporta.
I like it. I like it. I like that a lot better if he's going to be your second tight end for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Laporta's my primary. I've got him way closer to 100% than I should have. Let me just say that, Tim. Go ahead, Tim. Sure. You had anything else?
Yeah, I mean, the reason that I'm debating playing Deebo is that I already have Kittle and Ayuk, and I don't know if I want to make a Purdy triple, but I'm definitely playing Kittle. So that's why it's tricky for me whether or not to play Deebo. So I'm debating that right this second.
Okay. TJ, over to you.
Same as Tim, but instead of Kelsey, for me, it's Mark Andrews. And so Kittle and Laporta are 1 and 2. I love both of them. But then Mark Andrews is the other guy that I'm wanting to get to over Kelsey. He's quite a bit cheaper, $1,600 price discount, $1,500 on FanDuel, $5,700 for Mark Andrews on FanDuel. I just really like it there too. And so he's one of my favorite salary savers over there, but I'm still getting him in my Lamar lineups on DraftKings. Like Andrews quite a bit. Love Kittle, love Laporta. Kelsey is fine, but the only lineups I'm playing him actually also have Mark Andrews.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, folks, we have made it to the end of the actual skill positions in terms of defense. I'm assuming are you just fitting in whoever works or just going all the way to the Lions? I mean, because it's a small slate. Like it's not much we can do at defense to make a difference, I think, unless we just nail the team that has 2 defensive touchdowns. Is that what we're doing?
I always just play who fits really on these really, really small slates. I don't think that much into it, especially in the playoffs. Yeah.
Same here. TJ, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe like a cash setting, you maybe want to try and make sure you get the 49ers or the Ravens, especially on DraftKings where the pricing isn't that big of a difference. On FanDuel, there's a little bit more savings, to go all the way down to the Lions. But still, play anybody that fits.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm looking. We've got about 5 minutes to lock. I'm going to start taking some questions here, but it looks like Tim and TJ have been answering questions while we've been live, which has been fantastic. The beauty of having a small slate is we can tackle those while we're talking through it. So I don't see anything.
There was one question There was one question in chat that I didn't get to. I don't think TJ did either. Do we think Andrews is going to be on any kind of snap count?
I would assume so, Tim. Me personally, but I don't think I don't think it's going to be drastic enough because in my mind, the way I think about Mark Andrews is, even if he's on the field 60% of the time today, I have a feeling that 60% is to get him involved, not to just have him out there standing around. So I'm not really worried. Even if he's on the field 50% of the time, Tim, if they target him 5 times, 6 times in the game, like that could be enough if he catches the touchdown, 4 catches for 40 yards and gets to the end zone. I'm perfectly fine taking the risk with Mark Andrews. He was close last week and they didn't play him, which to me says they got him all the way back, ready to go.
That's the thing too, is I honestly don't care about, it's exactly like Chief said, I don't care about a snap count for a tight end, because it's like, remember when TJ Hawkinson early in the year, they said he was going to be on a snap count, and then he ended up going for like 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, something crazy like that. And it's because when they're on those snap counts, that means they're getting put out there for the high value plays. They get high value targets. They'll be utilized in the red zone. Usually I find with a tight end snap count, that typically just means they're not going to be doing as much blocking as they usually do. Like, they're still going to be out there running their routes. They're just not going to have them on the line getting smacked all the time. And so I think if he were to be on one, doesn't matter to me. I'm still going to play him.
Okay, sounds good. I think we all feel about the same about Mark Andrews today in terms of his utilization in the offense, no matter the snap count. So looks like we're there. I don't see any more questions. I am going to the Discord just to make sure, Tim and TJ, that we haven't missed anything. And if we have not, then that is going to wrap it up. I'm not sure if we'll be back for the Super Bowl for that particular show. I don't know how the company is going to handle it, but hopefully they let us bring it in. We did have TJ just answered that question about Rice. So there we go. Before we close it out, folks, as always, we want you to check out the props and pick'em package. The experts here at RotoGrinders and the projections team take our premium stats and comb through the market for any inefficiencies. Using our model, you can easily see which lines are off, where to find them, and how likely the prop will hit based on our tool. I use this tool, folks. You can also now try out the props and pick'em package as a 3-day pass. Just make a note that this will auto-renew at the monthly rate once the 3 days are up. Use the link in our description for that 3-day pass. And then in terms of our sim labs, we had a user in the prop shop. That's an RotoGrinders subscriber just last weekend. Mr. Papa Giorgio rake in $150,000 using sim labs, and that was on FanDuel. Folks, sim labs is going to be expert DFS lineup generation tool from our company in Fantasy Labs, and now you can use it for NFL and NBA. Here's what's NFL for the $150K. With a few clicks, you can have hundreds of well-built lineups, well-correlated for whatever contest you're playing in. Running out of time before lock? Quickly build a set of lineups to fill out your entries. Want to see who might be falling under the radar? Use the tool to examine players the field might be sleeping on. Note, all combo subscribers have access to the NFL and NBA sim labs. While sports specific, premium subs will have access to the corresponding sport in sim labs. Folks, I'm Chief. That's TJ. That's Tim. I think we're closing this thing out. Hopefully we see you for the Super Bowl. If we don't, good luck. Happy hunting. See you at the top of the leaderboards.